Well, we have a ton of patch notes to go over today. Bethesda just released the Fallout 76 patch notes for January 10th, 2019. So, yes, the PC version for Fallout 76 has been updated with this patch, and then the console version will be getting their update early next week. So, look out for those times and dates from me here. I will let you know when that will be going live. But in this huge document here, we've got some big changes here to the weapon. So I know you guys are really curious about that one. And then also to some perks here. So some very notable changes there. And then some additional changes to, the PvP, stability of the game, performance, stuff like that. But yes, a lot of stuff to talk about today. So this is going to be a pretty big video. Use that video guide in the description below to skip ahead. But welcome back, my fellow Vault Dwellers and Wasteland Wanderers, to Open World Games. Let's do this. Okay, but first, we need to hop into our power armor to do this video properly. Now, my internet has been shoddy lately. This morning has been going crazy, so I wasn't able to record brand new gameplay for you, but I'm going to get that done ASAP as soon as possible. But yeah, let's go over the most notable changes first. And we're going to start out with the perks that have actually been changed. So it goes on to say this. For perks, for the All Night Long perk, it says All Night Long now decreases hunger and thirst growth at nighttime. So that's pretty notable. And then they go on to say this. For Overdrive, it says fix an issue where Overdrive was not increasing critical percentage chance properly. So yes, that has been addressed. And then Quack Surgeon no longer allows for reviving hostile players. So that was actually an issue there. And then Strange in Numbers effects now scale properly with multiple teammates with and without mutations. And for Refractor, it says this, fix an error where each rank of Refractor, is doubling. They actually have a misspelling here, so that's why I'm having problems there. But it says, fix an error where each rank is doubling energy resistance instead of adding plus 20 as indicated on the perk card description. Then Fireproof now reduces explosion and flame attack damage by 15% per rank. So yes, that will go up as you rank up that card. And then Happy Camper says, Happy Camper now functions correctly whether the player is inside or outside of their camp when the perk conditions are refreshed. And Butcher's Bounty fixed an issue that allowed for Butcher's Bounty perk to trigger again on an already searched creature. And then for Homebody, the Homebody perk now works as intended when at a claimed public workshop. And then Party Boy and Girl now affects active alcohol effects on the player. So those are some of the noteworthy changes with the perks and updates with that system. And then we're going to be going over right now what is going on with the weapons. And then also we're going to be talking about enemies and stuff like that. And getting into camps and workshops too. So yes, still a lot of stuff to go over for sure. But you know what? Let's dive into right now what's going on with weapons and armor and ammo. So yeah, let's take a look-see here. It says weapons fix an issue that would sometimes cause plasma weapons, flamers and flamer mods, and weapons with explosive bullet mods not to do damage to other players and creatures. They also fix some issues with the armor, going on to say this, fix an issue that would cause players exiting power armor to sometimes appear stretched and unable to re-enter power armor. We know that error all too well. Now, a big one here is legendary hunting rifles will now drop as loot. So that's pretty cool to note that they're going to be legendary hunting rifles. So I think that's going to be still something. I know a lot of you guys wanted more focus on rifles and single shot weapons. At least that was the some of the top comments from my previous videos. Now they go on to say that they fixed an issue with the walking cane, providing as many resources when scrapped as its cost to craft. And then they fixed a bunch of issues with the pocketed chest pieces where we're resetting players back to their base carryway upon logging back into the game. And then also they address an issue where players can leave behind an unusable chassis after exiting power armor. And then consuming Scout's Life 6 magazine now correctly depletes food and water states at a slower rate. Now they did address an issue here with the grenade launcher. So the M79 is now considered an explosive weapon, as it should be in the perks, instead of being incorrectly identified as a shotgun. So there you have that one. And then for the fusion cores, now they addressed an issue where fusion core generators were producing cores at a slower rate than intended. They are now back to 8 cores an hour, so good news there. Time to go back to the workshops. A lot of people were like, why would you even consider nerfing, workshops in the first place? Because you want, to encourage players to kind of, go there and use those workshops. People kind of gave up on using workshops, so I think they should continue, modifying workshops. All right, next up it says, let's see here, there's some other notes in here. You're going to have to read them for yourself. There's over like 150 changes here, so check them out. I'm going to only highlight the most important noteworthy stuff here, but let's talk about weapons. Now, it says this fixed an issue where several combat rifle automatic receiver mods were prevented from receiving automatic rifle perk bonuses, and then they fixed where multiple weapons were able to be equipped at the same time. And then the vampire weapon mod now, weapon mod effect, now works only when hitting living targets as intended. And then they addressed an issue where power armor parts would display on top of previously equipped parts. And then they say fusion cores will no longer replenish to full charge upon joining another world. So they're addressing a lot of exploits as well in this patch. It's one of their big endeavors is to really get rid of those exploits. And I believe in these patch notes they did mention that they fixed the duping stuff. So they're really going after all the copying of weapons and duping, items, weapons, and stuff like that. So that's something that's noteworthy here as well. Of course, they go on to say that there are some fixes concerning crashes, performance issues, the infinite load on PC. They go on to mention that as well. Yeah, so under general here, let me pop this up for you guys. So right here under general, they say this: fixed an issue where items could be duplicated. So you could see that they're really going after those exploits, which have been a big, big problem. Now, they go on to say also for PC controls, there's been issues with the PC controls as well. And then additional PC fixes, which I can talk about a little bit down here. But I know you guys are curious about other gameplay enhancement. But PC resolution says perk pack opening screen now extends to the edge of 21.9 monitors. And then they adjusted additional things as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some enemy changes here. So yeah, right here we have some changes to the Scorch Robots and so on and so forth. Basically addressing, issues with the robots spawning in too frequently in White Springs. A whole army would spawn and it would be absolute madness. And then they also address some issues where the Wasteland Whisper could affect the Scorch. Now they say this Wasteland Whisper can no longer be used to pacify Scorched, and then shooting a Scorched in the leg will no longer break their weapon, causing them to not attack the player. And then they address this issue where Scorched may be using invisible weapons or not appearing in their, weapon correctly. Okay, and then they addressed floating debris issues, disassembled weapons and stuff like that would appear in Scorched hands. So a lot of things have been addressed for the Scorched, and the word issue is used a lot in this video because it's all over these patch notes here. As you can see, so many issues that need to be addressed. Oh, by the way, they actually addressed this right here. Many of you will be happy about this one. For animations, the lever action rifle now only reloads the correct number of ammo. So that was one thing that I noticed from the comments that a lot of you guys were complaining about. So it looks like that has been, addressed there. Now they say consumed berry mentats now correctly show purple glowing auroras around players and creatures. So an additional effect there that they have, basically applied and fixed. Now, let's see here. They go on to say this about PvP. I don't know why this is under systems and not just PvP. They go on to say, opening player-owned locked containers will now be considered a PvP action as expected. So that was something that was not, triggering right there. Now, for general and balance changes, they said glowing ones will no longer grant erroneous large amounts of XP. Glowing ones were granting large boss XP rewards, making them highly exploitable when combined with nuke zones. So that exploit has been addressed. And then crafting, lower chance of power generators of spawning fusion cores. Okay. And then set minimum component cost of workshop buildings requiring steel, wood, or plastic to 2. Bobby pins, reduce the weight value of bobby pins from 0.1 to 0.001. So they reduced the bobby pin weights greatly there, so you can stack up on those bobby pins without worrying. Next up, they say this for social teams. Players now receiving a notification that players cannot form teams from within Vault 76 and an invite sent to a friend still in Vault 76. So that's just for beginners that are starting out there. Now, it says opening player owned. Okay, we already went over that one. So I wanted to talk about the camps, workshops, and crafting as seen right here. So there's some additional changes here. They say level 25 armor and above now requires ballistic fiber to craft, and then repairing component quantities require to repair mid to high level armor and weapons have been reduced up to 20%. Repair costs scale with level, and there's room to reduce costs at higher levels. Now for crafting, it says ballistic fiber becomes required for armor at level 25 instead of previously at level 20. Updated bulk acid crafting recipe to require 15 acid. And then fix an issue that prevented players with the correctly equipped perk cards from being able to craft antibiotics and disease cure. And then crafting, it says hardened mass will no longer be scrapped when scrap all junk is selected. And then overall repair costs have been lowered for both weapons and armor, so that's good news. And then ballistic fiber also is now required for repairing armor at level 25 and above instead of previously at level 20. Then workshops, they go on to say fix an issue where enemies at some workshops location would spawn underground. And then they fixed a bunch of other issues with workshops as well. So you can read those for yourself here. So they basically fix issues with enemies spawning under the floor, and then preventing things from being repaired. And then a bunch of error messages were going off about stuff being not supported. They addressed that, it looks like. And then it says this, fix an issue with the cost of wires not being factored in when storing blueprints. So a bunch of fixes regarding that, and then additional fixes to challenges, weekly challenges, sub-challenges, and lifetime challenges. We already went over the enemies. We talked about the weapons, and then they adjusted some stuff with the vending machines, ammo vending machines, which were only selling repair components. So they fixed an issue with that one. So yes, as you can see, they're going in here and adjusting a lot of stuff and fixing stuff and fine-tuning this game. But a lot of the important stuff does, go towards the, stability of the game. So that's going to be important. I'm going to be really going into the game, testing that one out. So let me know how the game has been running for you guys, because even though they're fixing a lot of the gameplay stuff, the servers aren't working and there's big problems with that, then, what's the point? So the game has to be running well for, you to even enjoy whatever they have been fixing. But, guys, stay tuned here to Open World Games for more updates about Fallout 76. I am covering, Anthem, and I hope to get on the Division 2 a lot more as we get into that one. That's going to be releasing in March. And then also, yes, Cyberpunk 2077 news will be rolling in. And then, man, Borderlands 3. I hope we get really cool news about that one. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. And I will see you back in the wasteland soon enough. Take care.